welcome. If you are watching and listening now, it means you have chosen to give yourself a pause, a moment entirely your own, away from the noise of the day. This is Opulent Dreams, a place where time slows down, where stories flow gently, and where sleep arrives without being called. Tonight, I have the privilege of guiding you slowly towards rest. There is nothing you need to do. Simply listen and let go. If you wish, you can support this journey with a small gesture by following the channel, liking this video, and leaving a comment telling us where you are watching from tonight. A quiet way of being present together, even from afar. For now, though, this time is yours. Lower the lights. Settle into a comfortable position. Allow your body to find its own balance. Soften your breathing. There is no need to control it. Just allow it to slow down. The world can wait. Your worries can remain outside this night. I wish you a deep, elegant, natural rest. Let yourself be gently carried. And when you are ready, let the dream begin. The private plane touched down with an almost unreal delicacy. There was no jolt, just a gentle contact, like one breath meeting another. It was in that moment that Madagascar welcomed them. The runway stretched out before them, surrounded by dense, profound vegetation. Dark green, vivid green, ancient green. The air that entered the cabin when the door opened was unlike anything they had ever breathed. Warm, humid, fragrant. There was the scent of red earth, the salty perfume of the ocean, not far away, and a sweet, almost imperceptible note of tropical flowers blooming at their own pace. Descending the steps, their footsteps were slow, not from fatigue, but instinct, as if their bodies already knew that, on this island, every movement had to be slowed. They had been recently married. Time, for them, had just changed shape. There was no longer a before, not yet an after, only a soft, suspended present. An elegant car awaited them beyond the small private terminal. Tinted windows, light leather interior, absolute silence. During the journey, the landscape passed by like a slow dream. Distant villages, palms bending gently in the wind, ancient baobabs, silent witnesses to centuries of quiet passages. The road seemed to dissolve beneath the wheels. No hurry, no unnecessary noise. When the resort appeared, it did not do so with ostentation. It did not impose itself. It revealed itself. Low pavilions, perfectly integrated into nature, structures of dark wood, local stone, thatched roofs woven by hand. Everything seemed born there, not built. The entrance was open, without barriers, without visible doors. A stone path led to the heart of the resort, crossing a stretch of calm water. Natural pools reflecting the sky, slender bridges, floating flowers. To welcome them, only discreet smiles, soft voices, slow, measured movements. Everything was designed not to interrupt the flow of thought, not to wake the mind. They were guided to their private dwelling, not a room, not a suite, a villa. The path wound between ancient trees, giant ferns, distant songs of invisible birds. The villa appeared like a secret refuge, overlooking the ocean, slightly elevated, protected. The doors opened without a sound. Inside, the air was cool, natural, filtered through stone and wood. The bed dominated the space, wrapped in sheer curtains that moved barely at all. The sheets were of the finest linen, ivory-coloured, laid with an almost ritual precision. In front of the bed, a full glass wall. Beyond the glass, only the ocean. A private pool stretched out as a continuation of the sea, still water. A perfect surface. The sun was already beginning to set. The light turned golden, then amber, then soft. They sat together without speaking. There was no need. The journey was over, but the true path had only just begun. Madagascar had welcomed them. Now they could let themselves go. The sunset light entered the villa gently, not intrusive, not direct, filtered. It passed through the natural linen curtains, settled on the teak wood surfaces, caressed the polished stone floor. The interior of the villa was a continuous dialogue between elegance and nature. The walls were not completely closed. Some sections open to the outside, allowing the air to circulate freely. The boundary between inside and out was not sharp, it was soft. The ceiling, high and lined with dark beams, left room to breathe. Woven fibre lamps hung down like delicate sculptures. The light they cast was warm, golden, embracing. The king-size bed was positioned in the centre, slightly raised on a wooden platform. The surrounding curtains, thin and sheer, fell like veils. They moved barely, following the rhythm of the ocean breeze. The cushions were numerous, but not excessive. Raw silk, Egyptian cotton, different textures, designed to welcome. On either side of the bed, solid wood tables supported small handcrafted ceramic lamps. Every object seemed chosen with intent. Nothing was decorative by chance. Facing the glass wall, two low chaise longues in natural rattan, sand-coloured cushions, and a small round table in pale stone. On it, a bottle of French champagne, already chilling in ice. Two slender glasses, transparent as air. They had not spoken much yet. Not because they lacked words, but because silence was more precious. He watched the ocean. Athletic build, broad shoulders, an elegant posture, even in stillness. He was still wearing his travel suit, tailored midnight blue trousers, fine white cotton shirt, top button undone. The sleeves slightly rolled up, revealing toned forearms, relaxed. She had slipped off her shoes, bare feet brushed the cool floor. Her light ivory dress followed the lines of her body naturally. The fabric, almost weightless, caught the sunset light. Her hair fell softly over her shoulders. Her skin, lit by the gold of the sinking sun, seemed almost to reflect its surroundings. The ocean before them was not noisy, not restless. It breathed, slow waves, rhythmic, a deep cadence, almost meditative. The private pool, positioned between the villa and the cliff, mirrored the sky. Its infinity edge erased the boundary with the sea. A discreet member of staff silently placed a tray on a side console. Freshly cut tropical fruit, mango, papaya, and pineapple. The sweet fragrance spread slowly through the space. When the sun disappeared completely, the transformation was gradual. The sky turned indigo, then deep blue, then velvet. Small lights switched on along the villa's perimeter. LEDs hidden between the floorboards, indirect lighting beneath the bed platform. No dazzling sources, only glimmers. The resort around them remained invisible, each villa separated, protected by tropical vegetation. They approached the pool. The water was warm, perfectly calibrated temperature. They entered slowly, first one foot, then the other. The touch of water created an immediate sensation of suspension. The body felt lighter, movements more fluid. He lay on the infinity edge, arms outstretched along the smooth stone, gaze fixed on the first stars. She let herself float. Her dark hair fanned across the water, relaxed face, eyes closed. The sky over Madagascar, far from light pollution, was extraordinary. The Milky Way stretched clearly, a milky river crossing the entire celestial vault. One could almost feel the vastness. It was not empty silence, it was full silence, the constant sound of the ocean, a light breeze stirring the palm leaves. They stayed in the water for a long time, without measuring time. When they emerged, their skin was warm and relaxed. They wrapped themselves in thick, soft cotton robes, the resort's logo discreetly embroidered in sand-colored thread. Inside the villa, the bed had been prepared for the night. The light curtains were now fully closed around the perimeter, creating a small sanctuary. On the pillow, a delicate spritz of sandalwood essence, a barely perceptible hint of ylang-ylang. They lay down without speaking. The mattress was perfectly balanced. It welcomed the body's weight without resistance, supported without rigidity. The sound of the ocean filtered in, attenuated and continuous. Their breaths began to synchronize, slow, deep. There was no journey anymore, no tension, no agenda, only the present. The moon reflected on the pool water, then on the glass, then on the sheer curtains. Madagascar, in its tropical night, watched over them, and time seemed to have decided to stand still. Dawn in Madagascar does not arrive suddenly. It announces itself, first with an imperceptible change in the air, then with a new shade in the darkness, a blue that grows less deep, softer. Inside the villa, silence remained intact. The bed cradled their bodies like a shell. The light cotton sheets followed their forms, without constraining. Their breathing was slow, steady, deep. It was the light, not a sound, that marked their awakening. A golden thread filtered through the curtains, thin and delicate, like a caress that does not want to wake, but to accompany. She opened her eyes first, without moving. She stayed still, listening. The sea continued to breathe. The palms rustled softly. A tropical bird let out a distant, almost timid call. Her body was still immersed in the warmth of sleep. Muscles relaxed, mind empty. Beside her, he slept deeply. Face relaxed, her broad shoulders rising and falling with a steady rhythm. The dawn light traced soft lines across his profile, across his chest, along the forearm resting on the sheets. It was an image of total quiet. She turned slowly, avoiding any sudden movement, letting her back meet the mattress once more. She closed her eyes for a moment, and then she breathed, inhaled the salty air entering through the villa's natural ventilation, exhaled slowly, completely. There was no urgency to rise, no rigid schedule, only a promise of slowness. When they finally moved, they did so together. Minimal movements, almost choreographed. They sat on the bed. Their feet touched the cool stone floor, a pleasant, invigorating sensation. They opened the curtains. Before them, the ocean. The water's surface was calm, pink light, pale orange, liquid gold. The sun rose slowly over the horizon, as if not wanting to disturb. The private pool reflected the sky. Every color multiplied, every shade became more intense. They put on light clothes. He chose an ivory linen shirt, soft, breathable. Light trousers, tailored but relaxed. She wore a thin, almost sheer tunic. The fabric caressed the skin, followed the body's movement. They stepped onto the terrace. The breakfast table was already set. It was not a traditional table. It was a suspended platform in pale wood, slightly raised above the floor. Two low, cushioned seats with sand-colored pillows. The service had arrived silently, unseen. On a tray of polished stone, freshly baked bread, fragrant croissants, small golden brioche, salted butter, local honey, tropical fruit jams, a jug of fresh juice, papaya and lime, a bright, energizing fragrance, coffee prepared slowly, aromatic, deep. and a handcrafted ceramic teapot with vanilla and local spice infusion. Fruit arranged like a composition. Vivid colours, perfect cuts. They sat, ate without hurry. Every bite was a mindful gesture. Warm bread, the sweetness of mango, the gentle acidity of lime. The sun continued to rise. The light became clearer, more defined. The resort awakened slowly, yet remained invisible, protected, distant. After breakfast, they decided to do nothing. No excursions, no scheduled activities, just being. They lay on lounges beside the pool, soft towels, pillows beneath their heads. He closed his eyes. She watched the thin clouds drifting slowly across the sky. Time was already beginning to stretch. Madagascar was introducing them to its rhythm, a rhythm that does not impose itself, it offers itself. The forest did not announce itself with noise, it made itself felt by subtraction. As they moved away from the coast, the sound of the ocean grew more distant, muffled, until it dissolved entirely. The resort's electric vehicle advanced slowly along a dirt track. No aggressive engine, only a gentle rustle under the wheels. The air changed, grew denser, more humid, charged with green fragrances, wet leaves, warm earth, resin. She watched the landscape pass by without hurry. Towering trees, intertwined trunks, roots rising from the soil like ancient sculptures. He sat beside her, shoulders relaxed, gaze attentive, yet calm. They wore clothes designed to blend with the environment. A sand-colored linen shirt for him, sleeves rolled up, breathable fabric following his movements. She wore soft trousers, pale green, a light shirt tied at the waist, hair tied up, leaving the neck bare. The vehicle stopped. Silence welcomed them. It was not the absence of sound, it was a balance. A resort biologist guided them. Slow movements, low voice, as if the forest itself were listening. They walked on foot, each step cushioned by the natural carpet of leaves. No harsh noise, only a soft contact. Light filtered from above, in beams, drawing irregular geometries on the ground. Invisible insects produced a constant undercurrent, a continuous hypnotic song. The first lemur appeared without warning, perched on a branch, bathed in light, large, dark eyes. It remained still, observing them, then another, then a third. There was no fear, only presence. Time slowed even further. They stopped, they breathed. The wind barely moved the highest leaves, a wave-like motion, like a green sea. The biologist pointed out ancient plants, medicinal roots, sacred trees, but the words came muffled, as if the forest demanded more listening than explanation. He reached out his hand. She took it. The contact was natural. They walked on like that, in silence. They crossed a small stream, clear water. The stones were polished, smoothed by centuries of invisible passages. Humidity wrapped around their skin. Not unpleasant, embracing. Occasionally, a tropical bird darted across the space above them, a flash of color, then quiet again. They stopped in a clearing. The sun fell straight into the center, a perfect circle of light. There they sat, not from fatigue, to listen. The heart slowed, the breath grew deeper. The forest asked nothing, it offered. After an undefined time, they returned. The vehicle took them back to the resort. The sea began to be heard again, first distant, then present. When they returned to the villa, the sun was already high. Their bodies were tired, but pleasantly so, a kind of fatigue that invites rest. They changed. Light swimwear, skin still warm. They entered the pool. The water enveloped them. Perfect temperature. They floated. The sky above them was vast. No urgent thoughts, only the present. Madagascar continued to work in silence within them. The afternoon slid slowly toward evening when they left the resort for the coastal safari. The vehicle was open, clean lines, neutral colors, no unnecessary noise, only the soft rolling of the wheels over Madagascar's red earth. A living earth, warm, holding the sun. The landscape opened up, low hills, wide spaces, tall grass swaying in the wind. The sky was vast, a deep blue that was already beginning to change. She sat beside him, wearing a light ivory dress. The fabric moved slowly, following the rhythm of the air. He wore a light cotton shirt, soft trousers, light shoes. Their style was understated, designed not to interrupt the landscape. The safari was not a race, it was a crossing. From time to time, the vehicle slowed, stopped. A family of zebu crossed the track at a calm pace. Wide horns, ancient movements. Further on, birds with broad wings rose into the sky without hurry. The sun descended, the light turned golden, then amber. Shadows stretched like slow breaths. They arrived near the coast. The ocean appeared suddenly, immense, calm, long, regular waves. The sea reflected the sky like a deep mirror. They stepped down from the vehicle. They walked. The sand was compact, still warm. Their footsteps left light marks that the water erased immediately. In the distance, a few traditional canoes glided along the horizon. Silent fishermen, dark figures against the sunset light. The wind carried the scent of salt and something iron-like, the earth. Madagascar showed its dual nature, ocean and land, water and dust. They sat on a smooth dark rock, warmed by the day. They did not speak. There was no need. The sun touched the horizon, paused for a moment, then disappeared. The sky changed again. Orange, pink, indigo, a slow, hypnotic transition. When they climbed back into the vehicle, evening had already arrived. The first stars appeared. The return to the resort was even quieter. Artificial light was minimal, just enough. They reached the villa when darkness was complete. On the beach, dinner awaited them. A table set on the sand. White linen, low candles. The sea in front. Dark, breathing. The resort staff moved like gentle shadows, without breaking the atmosphere. The food was simple, but perfect. Grilled fish, light spices, fragrant coconut rice. Every flavor was clean and recognizable. The wine was fresh. They ate slowly, savoring. The sound of the waves accompanied every gesture. After dinner, they remained seated. The candles flickered. The wind was warm. The sky full of stars. The Milky Way stretched across the night like a luminous road. They rose, walked along the shore. The water lapped their feet, cool, gentle. The world seemed distant, almost unreal. They returned to the villa when their bodies demanded rest. The interior lights were low, warm. The pool reflected the night sky. A second firmament. The day ended without truly ending. Madagascar continued to work within them. Night in Madagascar does not fall. It settles, descends slowly like a light veil on the skin of the earth. After the safari, after dinner on the beach, the villa welcomed them in a deep silence. A living silence, never empty. The windows were open. Air entered without asking permission, carrying with it the scent of the ocean and the sweeter one of the nocturnal vegetation. The pool reflected the stars, the water still black, shiny. It seemed a fragment of sky fallen onto the earth. They walked slowly, barefoot. The natural stone floor held the night's coolness, a gentle contrast to the warmth of the day just past. Inside, the light was minimal. Screened lamps, amber tones, designed not to interrupt the continuity of darkness. The bedroom was an extension of the landscape. A wide bed, light wooden frame, sheets of the finest cotton, white, fresh. The light canopy moved barely at all, following the breath of the air. Every object had space, every surface was free, no screens, no visible clocks. Time no longer had a role. They sat on the edge of the bed, a simple gesture, natural. Outside, the sounds of the African night began their slow concert. Insects, distant rustlings, a deep call almost imperceptible, sounds that do not disturb, that embrace. They lay down. The mattress welcomed the body without resistance. It supported without rigidity. The sheet slid over the skin like calm water. They remained thus, still present. The starlight entered through the window, casting soft shadows on the walls. Every breath became slower, deeper. The body began to yield. Outside, a cooler breeze stirred the palms. The leaves produced a rhythmic sound, constant, like a slow heartbeat. Madagascar at night does not sleep. It watches, watches without noise. The sky was full, without emptiness. The stars seemed closer, larger, as if they could be touched. They remained watching, eyes slowly closing and opening again. There was no rush to sleep, no need to stay awake. Sleep was coming on its own. A deep sleep, without immediate images, without thoughts, only body, only breath. The moon, high, barely lit the garden. The shadows of the plants moved slowly across the outer walls. Inside, everything was still. Time had stopped, or perhaps had stretched. Every second became soft, diluted. Thoughts, one by one, melted away. Only the feeling of being in the right place. Madagascar held them, with gentle firmness, and as sleep enveloped them completely, the night continued. Breathing, watching. Dawn in Madagascar does not burst in, it seeps, arrives slowly, like a gentle thought that crosses sleep without breaking it. At first, it is only an imperceptible change, a faint light behind the linen curtains. Then the darkness loses its depth, becomes blue, then pale sky blue. The ocean is the first to awaken, not with noise, not with abrupt movement, with a different light. The waves, first invisible, begin to reflect a golden line on the horizon. He opens his eyes slowly, doesn't know exactly when. There was no precise moment. The body moved on its own, guided by the light. The room is still immersed in a warm, half light. The canopy moves barely at all. The morning breeze is cooler, cleaner. She breathes deeply, still in sleep. Face relaxed, features soft. Time is in no hurry. She rises cautiously. Feet touch the cool floor. The stone holds the night's moisture. She walks toward the terrace, opens the sliding doors completely. The ocean is there, calm, immense. The sun is emerging like an orange sphere from the edge of the world. The light strikes the water and transforms it. Turquoise, gold, liquid silver. The air smells of salt and freshly opened flowers. The resort is still silent. The other villas are hidden among the palms, invisible, separated by tropical gardens. Absolute privacy, chosen solitude. She hears light footsteps behind her. She approaches, still wrapped in a white linen kimono, hair loose over her shoulders. They stop, side by side. Do not speak. There is no need. Dawn does everything. A bird crosses the sky. A dark line against the rising sun. In the distance, a traditional fishing boat glides across the calm water. The fishermen begin their day. With slow movements, the resort seems suspended, as if waiting for the light to be complete before stirring. A gentle knock on the door. Breakfast has arrived. Staff enter silently, with fluid movements, almost invisible. The table on the terrace is set, sand-coloured tablecloth, handmade ceramics, delicate glasses, freshly cut tropical fruit, fresh juices, squeezed just minutes before. They sit opposite each other. The sunlight is now full, warm, but still gentle. They eat slowly, every flavour distinct. The mango is soft, sweet, with an almost floral note. The coffee warms the body, energizes without stirring. The pool in front of the villa reflects the now clear sky. The water is still. After breakfast, they remain seated. Time stretches. No immediate plan, no schedule. The sand beneath the cliff shines in the morning light. They decide to descend, wear light clothes with natural colors and breathable fabrics. The wooden walkway winds through the vegetation. Broad leaves, red flowers, sweet scent. The beach is almost deserted. The sand is fine, light, cool beneath their feet. The ocean welcomes them with perfect temperature. Not cold, not warm. The water is transparent. The slow movements of small fish are visible. They float effortlessly. The sky above them is vast, infinite. The honeymoon is not an event. It is a state, a suspension. They return to the villa with salty skin, with damp hair. The staff has already tidied the room. The bed is made. The light curtains have been drawn. The day can begin, or it can remain as it is. Dawn has become day. But within the body, that deep calm still remains. The sleep of the previous night was not interrupted. It was accompanied. And now the day flows with the same slowness with which it began. The forest in Madagascar is not crossed. It is entered, and it is done slowly, with respect. The morning sun barely filters through the high canopies. A broken light, irregular. They set off shortly after dawn, when the air is still fresh, when the earth has not yet released the heat of the day. A guide awaited them at the trailhead. Calm movements, soft voice. Few words were needed. The ground changed immediately beneath their feet. The pale sand gave way to red earth, compact, alive. Each step sank lightly, leaving a soft imprint. The forest enveloped them, not with density, but with presence. Massive trunks, roots rising from the soil, leaves as large as open hands. The humidity was tangible, but not unpleasant. The air smelled of wet earth, of crushed leaves, of resin. From time to time, a drop fell from above, a remnant of the night. The sound was constant, but never intrusive. Distant insects, rustlings, a sharp call, then silence. They walked without speaking. The body slowed to adapt to the rhythm of the place. Then a movement, a swift shadow among the branches. The guide stopped, raised a hand slightly. They froze and saw them. Lemurs, large eyes, alert, curious, sitting on low branches, long tails swaying slowly like pendulums. They watched, they assessed. There was no fear, only natural distance. One leaped, light, silent, landed on a slanted trunk, looked at them. Time in that moment stopped. Heartbeats slowed, and the breaths deepened. It was an encounter without exchange, without request, only shared presence. The light caught the animal's eyes, creating golden reflections. Then, with the same naturalness, it disappeared. The forest sounds resumed. As if nothing had happened, they walked again, more slowly. The trail opened and closed, gentle curves, no straight lines. They passed ancient ferns, medicinal plants. Fallen trunks turned into refuges. Madagascar revealed its age, not as something old, but as something profound. After an indefinite time, they reached a clearing. The sun was full, warm, embracing. They sat on a smooth rock, worn by years, drank fresh water silently. The body was relaxed, active but without tension. The return was made with the same calm, no rush. When they emerged from the forest, the light was already stronger. The resort reappeared among the palms, like a familiar refuge. They returned to the villa with the forest's scent upon them. The outdoor shower awaited. The water flowed warmly, washing away the earth, leaving only the sensation. They wrapped themselves in soft towels, thick, absorbent. The rest of the day was still ahead, but the body had already received what it needed. The forest does not tire, it restores balance, and now the rhythm slowed once more. The afternoon slid slowly toward evening. The sun, still high, had lost its harshness. The light had become softer, golden. Embracing, an open jeep awaited them, elegant in its simplicity. Light leather seats, handles cool to the touch. They climbed in without haste. A bottle of fresh water, a light cloth over their legs. The engine started with a deep sound. The resort remained behind. The palms, the pools, the wooden architecture. Ahead, the savannah. Vast spaces, long breaths. The road was barely visible. Compact earth, fine dust. Each curve opened a different panorama. Fields of tall grass, clusters of solitary trees, ancient baobabs, like motionless sentinels. The wind entered the jeep. Warm, constant, carrying with it dry scents. They moved slowly, not out of caution, but to listen. The silence of the savannah is not absence of sound, it is balance. A distant movement, then another. Zebras, aligned like graphic marks on an infinite canvas. Further on, antelopes, elegant, tense, ready, but calm. The jeep stopped, engine off. They remained so, motionless. The sun began to descend, the horizon lit up with shades of orange and copper. Shadows stretched, forms softened. A bird crossed the sky, slowly, solemnly. Time here was not a sequence, it was an expansion. They moved again, even more slowly. A troop of terrestrial lemurs moved among the low trees. They jumped, disappeared, and reappeared. The sun touched the edge of the world, and everything changed. The savannah breathed, the light lowered, colors dimmed slowly, like a hall before a concert. Oh, they stopped for the final stretch, stepping down from the jeep. The ground was warm beneath their feet. The earth held the heat of the day. A low table awaited them, or two soft seats, a white cloth, a silent toast, a slow sip. The sky began to fill with stars, not all at once, one by one, as if someone was lighting them carefully. They remained so, seated, close, without speaking. Night arrived without noise. The return was under a full sky. The jeep moved with gentle headlights. It did not disturb. The resort reappeared like a private constellation. Warm lights. They returned to the villa with relaxed bodies, empty minds. The evening shower, slower, longer. Dinner awaited them, but there was no rush. The savannah had done its work. The night could begin. The resort had prepared a special dinner, not inside the villa, but outdoors, between two rows of palms, lit by lanterns and small fires along the path. The table was large, round, set on a light wooden platform, white linen tablecloth, carefully pressed, elegant dishes, fine porcelain, thin glasses, pure crystal. Cutlery gleamed in the firelight. They sat down slowly, both dressed in light yet elegant clothing. The details, understated yet precise, spoke of discreet luxury. Above, the stars were beginning to thicken. The Milky Way, barely visible, like a veil of silvery dust. The wind carried a mix of scents: distant sea, wet earth, night blooming flowers. The air was warm, yet fresh, caressing the skin. The first course arrived. a selection of the freshest seafood with delicate hints of local herbs. Hands brushed the cutlery with slow precision. Each flavor was intense, yet measured like a perfectly tuned chord. Conversation was subtle, almost a background hum. Words were not necessary, not too many. Gazes, small gestures, the sipping of wine told far more than sentences. The candles flickered, the light reflected in their eyes. Every movement appeared harmonious. The fire from the nearby bonfire pulsed like a slow heartbeat. The surrounding nature completed the symphony. A distant cricket, a rustle of leaves, a night bird. By the time the second course arrived, the sky was fully dark. Moonlight illuminated only certain details: the soft curves of the table, the glasses, the hands brushing casually. Dessert: a chocolate mousse with fresh raspberries and a sprinkle of edible flowers. A delicate sweetness melting on the tongue, leaving space for the deepest silence. After dinner, they remained seated. They did not rise immediately. Slowly, they left the table and walked along a small wooden pier leading to the illuminated pool. Calm water, smooth surface, reflections of yellow and orange lights. The wind caressed their faces, their light shirts moved like waves. They sat on the cushioned lounges by the pool, 2 glasses of champagne in hand. They breathed deeply. The rhythm of the savannah, the warmth of the fires, the song of the night, all entered within them. The body relaxed, the mind emptied of unnecessary thoughts. The villa's lamps, far away, were barely visible. The sky above them is vast. Every star seemed to be theirs alone. After a while, they lay back on the lounges. Light headphones to listen to relaxing music, soft eye masks, travel pillows under their heads, every detail chosen to foster total relaxation. Breathing became regular, heartbeat slow. The invisible sea in the distance, like a whisper. The silent savannah, like a protective carpet. Their hands touched occasionally. No words, only presence. The body surrendered to the soft surface of the lounger, to the sensation of suspension between earth and sky. The fire, now distant, still warmed the skin. The bonfire candles reflected in the pool like little fallen stars. The outside world no longer existed. There was only them, the night, the slow music, and the breath. Every detail of the resort, every tiny natural sound entered their senses. Luxury was not only in the buildings or furnishings, it was in the ability to live the moment without urgency. The moon rose slowly, bringing a silvery light. The body adapted to total relaxation. Thoughts faded, images blurred. The scent of earth, plants, water continued to lull the mind. Finally, without effort, they fell asleep. The sky above, the sounds of the night, the comfort of the resort, all accompanied their slumber. Deep, safe, slow. The dawn crept slowly through the palms, spreading a warm, golden light. The resort's villas, built on stilts above the clear lagoon, reflected the first rays of the sun. Each villa had floor-to-ceiling windows, light wooden floors, private terraces with cushioned lounges, and woven rattan chairs. Every detail was designed to offer an uninterrupted view of the lagoon and the surrounding mangroves. The couple woke without haste. The previous evening's clothes had been replaced by soft, natural linen robes, cream-colored. Bare feet sank slightly into the gently cool parquet. The morning breeze carried the scent of sea and tropical flowers, sweet and light. From the balcony, they observed the lagoon. The water was calm, transparent, with turquoise and emerald reflections, Small fish swam among the mangrove roots. Exotic birds began to sing in the distance, their calls blending with the gentle rustle of the water. They decided to walk down to the beach. The sand was fine, almost white, sliding softly between their toes. The shore was lapped by light waves, breaking with a low, steady sound, like a calm heartbeat. The sun rose slowly, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink as their bodies surrendered to the softness of the sand. The villa's private pool was just a few steps away. The water sparkled under the rising sun. They immersed themselves, enjoying the contrast between the warmth of the air and the freshness of the water. Every movement was slow, deliberate, a ritual of pleasure and relaxation. Luxury was not ostentation, but a sensory experience. The softness of water, the warmth of the sun, the scent of the vegetation. After a long swim, they returned to their villa. Breakfast was served on the terrace, prepared with local ingredients: fresh fruit, creamy yogurt, golden honey, warm, fragrant croissants, and a selection of tropical juices. Their hands brushed the glassware delicately. The flavors were intense, yet balanced. Each bite an invitation to slow down, to feel the moment. They sat side by side, enjoying the view, the lagoon, the palms, the distant mountains mirrored in the water. They spoke little. It was unnecessary. The silence, broken only by the breeze and the calls of birds, was a language more profound than words. They decided to explore the resort's surroundings. They walked along paths immersed in tropical vegetation where orchids and bougainvillea colored the way. Each step was accompanied by birdsong and the scent of moist earth. They reached a small internal lagoon where mangroves and palms reflected perfectly, like a mirror. Time seemed to stand still, every sound amplified by the surrounding calm. Later, they joined a boat excursion to a nearby island. Along the way, the crystal clear sea revealed coral and colorful fish. The sun high above illuminated every detail, turning the water into a mosaic of blue, green, and turquoise. The wind caressed their skin, and the salty scent of the sea mingled with the fragrance of the surrounding vegetation. Upon reaching the island, they walked along white sand paths and small, tropical shrubs. Every step was slow, measured, as if they were moving through a living painting. Light filtered through the leaves, creating patterns of shadow on their skin and on the ground. Time was suspended. Back at the resort, the evening found them once again at a special dinner, this time on a terrace suspended above the water. The table, elegant and minimalist, reflected the warm glow of the hanging lamps. The dishes were carefully prepared: fresh fish, tropical fruits, local spices, delicate combinations of sweet and savory flavors. Their hands brushed lightly as they sipped chilled white wine. The silence was dense and welcoming, accompanied by the gentle sound of the waves below. After dinner, they walked along the illuminated walkway leading back to their villas. The starry sky opened above them, more intense than any cityscape. Each star shone like a tiny flame, reflected in the calm water. They sat on the lounges by the pool, listening to relaxing music through headphones. Soft eye masks, pillows under their necks, bodies fully supported by the comfort of the seats. Sleep came slowly, bringing with it a sense of total peace. Each breath followed the rhythm of the waves. Every night sound, every rustling leaf, every scent contributed to a deep, restorative sleep. The luxury of the resort was not only in the furnishings, but in its ability to create a perfect environment to relax, breathe, and let go.